under a twilight sky. I, Marina, clutched my daughter Eliza's small hand as we wandered through the creaking corridors of our time-worn home. The wind outside carried eerie whispers that melded with the house's own sighs, as if the very walls bore the secrets of forgotten sorrows. Eliza's wide, inquisitive eyes reflected both wonder and apprehension. "Mom, do you think the house is alive?" she asked in a hushed tone that betrayed her unease. I offered a gentle smile, though my heart pounded with the weight of memories I had long tried to bury. That night, driven by an inexplicable pull, I led her up the narrow staircase to the attic, a place rumored to cradle the pain of our past. With every step, the wooden boards groaned beneath us, echoing stories of love lost and mistakes made. The attic's door creaked open, revealing a dim space filled with dusty relics and long-forgotten mementos. Faded photographs, yellowed letters, and a delicate diary bound in cracked leather. As I flipped through the diary's brittle pages, a sudden chill swept through the room. A soft humming sound began to resonate from the far corner, a melody that stirred both melancholy and an unspoken invitation. My eyes widened as I noticed a pale, spectral figure emerging in the half-light. It was a woman, her expression one of deep, unspoken sorrow. For a moment, I felt as if time itself had conspired to reunite us, as her familiar, ghostly features bore a striking resemblance to the portrait my grandmother once treasured. Eliza squeezed my hand tighter. "Mom, who is she?" she whispered, her voice barely audible over the rustle of old memories. I hesitated, caught between fear and compassion, before replying. "I think she's part of our past, a spirit bound to this house by her own heartache." In that haunting instant, the apparition drifted closer, her eyes brimming with regret and a yearning for solace. The room felt charged with the weight of unfulfilled promises and lingering grief. Summoning every ounce of courage, I stepped forward and spoke softly. "I know your pain. We carry our own scars, too, but perhaps by facing them, we can begin to heal." My words hung in the air, mingling with the faint hum of a lullaby that seemed to rise from the attic's shadows. For a heartbeat, the ghost lingered, then, as if comforted by the acknowledgement of her suffering, she slowly receded into the dim recesses of the attic, leaving behind a silence that was both sorrowful and strangely reassuring. Eliza and I stood there, hearts entwined with the ghost's silent narrative, as the room seemed to exhale a long-held secret. As we descended back into the main hall, a fragile peace settled over our home. I knew that our encounter with the spirit was not a curse, but rather a call to confront the tangled threads of our family's past. In that bittersweet moment, I vowed to shield Eliza from the darkness, while also embracing the truths that had shaped us. Now, whenever I hear the soft creaks of our old house, or catch a glimpse of a shadow that lingers just a moment too long, I remember that fateful night. It serves as a constant reminder that our history, both the beautiful and the broken, lives on in every whispered secret and every silent tear. And through it all, I remain determined to guide my daughter with both strength and compassion, even in the face of our most haunting memories. It was a rainy evening when I, Veronica, found myself hurrying down the creaking hallways of our old family home with my daughter, Lila, clutched tightly in my arms. The rain tapped persistently against the window panes, a constant reminder that the outside world was as tumultuous as the secrets hidden within these walls. I had always believed our home to be a sanctuary, yet tonight its atmosphere was thick with unspoken dread. Lila's wide eyes darted nervously as she whispered, "Mom, do you feel that? It's like the house is breathing." Her small voice, trembling yet inquisitive, sent shivers down my spine. I could almost hear the echo of lost memories, a chorus of voices that seemed to rise from the very foundations of the house. Earlier that day, I had discovered an old journal tucked away behind a loose brick in the hallway. Its pages, yellowed with age and filled with cryptic notes, hinted at the presence of a long-forgotten tragedy, one that had stained the family legacy. The journal spoke of a hidden room, sealed off for decades, where a sorrowful secret was said to linger like a ghost, unwilling to fade. Despite my rational mind urging me to dismiss it as mere superstition, a nagging feeling told me that the past was not ready to let go. Unable to shake the uneasy sensation that had taken root in my heart, I resolved to explore the house's shadowy corners. I led Leela down a narrow staircase that spiraled into the basement, a place of echoes and damp chill that had haunted me since childhood. Every step was accompanied by the sound of my own quickening heartbeat and the soft, steady patter of rain. Overhead, in the murky light, I discovered an unmarked door behind a row of dusty, forgotten boxes. My pulse quickened as I turned the rusty knob, and the door creaked open to reveal a small, cramped room that reeked of disuse and decay. The walls were adorned with faded photographs and cryptic symbols scrawled in what looked like hurried handwriting. It was here, amidst the relics of our family's past, that I sensed the weight of unspeakable sorrow. A sudden gust of cold air swept through the room, extinguishing the weak beam of my flashlight. Leela squeezed my hand tighter, her eyes brimming with both fear and a strange determination. "Mom, maybe we should call someone," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the sound of the wind. I forced a reassuring smile, though inside, I wrestled with conflicting emotions, a blend of dread and a desperate need to uncover the truth as I fumbled for a match. The silence was broken by a soft, almost imperceptible sound, a sigh that seemed to emanate from the very walls. In that moment, the room transformed. Shadows lengthened, and a spectral presence seemed to materialize before us. It wasn't malevolent, but rather filled with profound sadness, as though it were pleading for release from a century-old burden. In the midst of that chilling encounter, a fragment of an old lullaby echoed faintly in my memory, one my own mother had sung to me during sleepless nights. The melody, though now warped by time, carried a bittersweet promise of healing. I knelt beside Leela, and with a trembling voice, began to sing softly, the familiar notes weaving through the oppressive darkness. Slowly, the room's hostility subsided, as if the sorrowful spirit found solace in the gentle cadence of a mother's love. In that eerie, surreal moment, I realized that the secret haunting our home was not an entity to be feared, but a lingering reminder of unresolved grief, a legacy that had bound generations in silent mourning. Lila, ever perceptive despite her youth, looked up at me with eyes that seemed to say, "I understand, Mom. We're not alone," and indeed, we weren't. The past was with us, woven into every creak of the floorboards and every whisper of the wind as we stepped out of the hidden room and back into the main corridor. A fragile peace had settled over the house. I knew that the journey to unearth our family's darkest chapter had only just begun. But in that moment, with Lila by my side, I felt a renewed strength of determination to face the shadows and heal the wounds of a long-forgotten past. That rainy night, as I held Leela close and listened to the rhythmic tapping of rain against the windows, I understood that true courage lies not in the absence of fear, but in the willingness to confront it. And so, our quiet quest for truth continued, one whispered secret at a time. At midnight, as the old walls of my home whispered silently, I, Olivia, walked along the dark corridors with my little daughter Chloe. The moonlight filtered through dusty windows, reaching every corner of the house, filled with forgotten memories, while an indescribable unease stirred deep within me. Clutching my hand tightly, Chloe murmured, "Mom, this place feels strange. It's as if the walls are talking." In that moment, traces of an old sorrow surfaced in my heart. With every step, the creaking wooden floor carried the weight of faded memories and tears. Within me, I could sense the cold breath of a truth I had long tried to forget. That night, surrendering to Chloe's sleeplessness, I led her to one of the darkest corners of the house, the old living room. This room held the secrets of our family's past and the remnants of lost hopes. An old sofa, a coffee table displaying faded photographs, and on the wall, a portrait of a woman whose eyes brimmed with indescribable melancholia. Stranger to me greeted us. The eyes in that portrait seemed as if they wanted to reveal a dark secret hidden in the depths of our home. Then, from a corner of the room, I heard a soft rustle. It was as if an invisible hand had brushed through Chloe's hair. Her eyes lit up with terror as she whispered, "Mom, there's someone there." In that instant, the mists of the past unveiled an old pain that lay deep within our home. It was as if the house itself was eager to share a dark secret it had guarded for so long. Taking a deep breath, I clutched Chloe's hand tightly and approached that mysterious corner. With every step, the old walls echoed with forgotten sorrows and lost stories. In that moment, it felt as if the very heart of the house was beating where old loves, shattered hopes, and unfinished tales converged. I realized that the expression on the woman's face in the portrait mirrored a burden I too had borne. Sitting there, as I looked into Chloe's eyes, filled with deep fear and curiosity, I sensed a clue to easing the heavy load of the past. Perhaps this house was determined to reveal the secrets, lost memories, and unresolved reckonings that our family had hidden away for so long. That night, accompanied by the whispered voices of lost souls in every corner of the house, we could not escape becoming part of that dark secret. As I recount this tale, I still feel the chill of that night and the echoes of whispers resonating off our walls. Every step we took rewrote the dusty pages of the past into a story woven with fear and wonder. Remember, true horror comes not from what is seen, but from the presence felt deep within the heart. And I, Olivia, feel that every night, as I confront those silent screams, I am reborn through the pain of the past. Late at night, I, Alice, was quietly moving through the corridors of our home with my little daughter Emily. Although everything appeared normal, an indescribable unease churned inside me. That evening, a long-forgotten memory suddenly flickered before my eyes. Every night, in my recurring dreams, I heard whispers echoing among the old walls of our home. In those dreams, a cold voice from afar would say, "Get out of here, Alice." As the line between reality and imagination began to blur, shadows emerged in every corner. Emily's innocent smile warmed my heart, even as it slowly sowed seeds of fear. That night, Emily couldn't fall asleep. Anxious, I went into her room. There she sat quietly on her bed, watching the moonlight filter in through the window. "Why? Aren't you sleeping, sweetie?" I asked. Lifting her head slightly, Emily whispered, "Mom, there are voices. It's like they're whispering even when no one's around." My heart pounded for a moment. Curiosity about the origin of these voices dragged me back to old days, a terrifying truth from my past. At that moment, we heard a faint rustling from the oldest room in the house. The door to that room, long kept locked, now lay ajar, as if pushed open by an unseen force. We decided to step inside. With every step, the creaking wooden floorboards seemed to whisper silent cries from the past. When we entered, faded family photographs and worn-out furniture greeted us. Among the faces captured in those photographs was the portrait of an unfamiliar woman whose sorrowful eyes met mine. A chill, the deepest sorrow imaginable, gripped my heart. It was as if the echo of a long-ago tragedy still haunted these walls. With trembling hands, Emily whispered, "Mom, why does it feel like that woman is watching me?" In that instant, a suppressed memory from my youth surged back. A dark night, in this very house, a secret known to no one. While I had been trying to erase the traces of the past and its painful memories, an unknown force had reawakened them. The ancient walls held stories to be told in the silence of the night. In every corner, in every crevice, lay the whispers of lost souls. Then it hit me. Emily and I were not just a family, we were part of the house's dark secret. The shadows of the past had taken up residence with us, re-emerging night after night as we slowly left the room. The fear and curiosity within me mingled with uncertain hopes for the future. I knew I had to confront the truth. This house belonged to Emily and me, only in memories, but in its dark secrets as well, and I was determined to unearth them. Every step I took into the unknown that night transformed into an unforgettable journey, where fear and curiosity interwove. Now, as I recount this story to you, I remember the silent screams of the past and that horrifying truth hidden deep within our home. Every step led me back to the cold embrace of pain and loss. But know this, true terror stems from what we do not understand, and since that night, I have never escaped the clutches of that truth. At midnight, in the silence of our home, I, Madeline, walked along the dark corridors with my little daughter, Grace. The wooden floors echoed our footsteps as if carrying forgotten whispers of the past. Deep within me, the faint tremors of a long-suppressed memory stirred. I felt that moment would gradually reveal the dark secret of our house. Grace's innocent eyes always brought both comfort and fear. In that moment, her expression carried a silent warning of the unknown. "Mom, did you hear that? It's like they're whispering even when no one is around," she murmured in her tiny voice. My heart shuddered momentarily, though I tried to suppress my fear. The sounds echoing through the cold walls carried traces of old sorrows and forgotten tragedies. That evening, I headed toward the old library in the back of the house. Among the dusty shelves, relics of bygone days, old books, faded photographs, and broken memories were hidden away. On one of the shelves, a portrait caught my eye, a woman with an indescribable melancholy in her expression, someone I had never seen before. Her eyes in the portrait seemed as if they wanted to share a piece of our house's dark past with me. Suddenly, I was startled by a cold breath on my neck. When I turned around, amidst a vague silhouette, I saw a figure whose presence was felt but did not belong to anyone. Grace trembled as she whispered, "Mom, there's someone over there." In that moment, amid the mists of the past, I became aware of an old pain lying deep within our home. It was as if the house wanted to share a dark secret it had guarded for so long. As the night wore on, every corner of the house seemed to come alive with its own story. Every creak, every breeze, echoed with memories of sorrow and lost hopes. Grace and I were drawn into this mysterious atmosphere, beginning to uncover the hidden pages of our home's past. In those moments, we were not just a mother and daughter. We were witnesses to the cursed history of this house, following the trail of its dark secrets. Now, as I recount this story, I still feel the cold breath of that night in my heart. As Madeline, Grace, and I listened to the silent screams of our home, walking a path where fear and curiosity intertwined. Every step revealed the forgotten horrors of the past. Every whisper offered a clue to the painful stories hidden deep within our walls. Remember, true fear comes not from what is seen, but from those unseen presences felt in the heart. Since that night, we have learned to live with the dark secrets of our house, always standing on the edge of confronting that eerie truth once again.